Hello and welcome, Internet, to another episode of First 15 Minutes here on PasticheofSkin. You may understand why I'm actually speaking with a weird accent, but it's partially because this is Guantlet on the PS4. And whenever you play as an elf character, there seems to be a very specific way that he has to talk. And it seems to be almost a lilting Scottish or possibly Irish accent that he seems to be putting on. Now, I don't know if I find that offensive, but I do find it a little bit weird. No, but it's finding it easy to get into the accent. But the problem is, I've been talking like this now for 45 minutes, and I can't stop it. I can't find a way to stop.
I don't really trust that guy. Did he just make that quest up? The magical sword bit sounds nice though. Maybe we trade it in for a gold sword.
I know, we could go and chase after a gold sword. That sounds like a really good idea. But I'm not too sure if I'm actually really getting why the elf speaks like this. Now, maybe it's meant to be like a lilting kind of voice, or the fact that Guantlet really does take the piss. But I'm not too sure. Well, let's just go on to this first level and take a wee look anyway. Yeah, it does take a long time to load as well.
So humans built this place to hang around in once they're dead? I don't get it. Oh wait, they're undead. Oh, that makes more sense.
Oh, aye, right, it definitely does. Aye. It makes a lot more sense now that you actually explain it to me. Oh, but anyway, the mechanics of this game are pretty simple. It's a top-down shooter. We're using the left stick to turn and move around, and the right stick to aim. Now, if you end up using the right stick, you'll do your basic attack, which is a bow and arrow if you're playing as the elf. And if you use the L2 button, you'll actually drop a bomb. And if you use the R2 button, you have a charged shot. Now, it doesn't really ask too much of you, really, other than that. It just is a room-by-room clear through, where you just have to keep yourself alive and remember to eat enough food to make sure you don't collapse of hunger. Now, I think the actual special attacks are related into what you do with your health, but I wouldn't be surprised if it actually isn't related at all. It's just what I managed to notice whenever I was playing through it. For the young'uns in the audience, you may not know this, but Guanlet was actually a video game series from back in the 1980s, and it's been ported to nearly every single system ever since. We've had NES versions, we've had Genesis versions, we've had Mega Drive versions, we've even had a version that was meant to be on mobile phones, and on the DS as well. Now, it doesn't really seem to be changing much in ways of innovation or of development. It's a hack and slash game. I mean, you're just going to get surrounded by bad guys, blow them up, and move on to the next one. I mean, you could be doing this in Smash TV, you could be doing it in anything. It just so happens that Guantlet was one of the first ones to do it itself. Did it back in 1985, you know, and that was back before most of these were born. As a revival of the old hack and slash genre, where you're actually playing in a top-down angle that more people are familiar with in Diablo games now, rather than actually being in a loot 'em up that you have to chase down and find all the gold you can. Now, there's no item drops within the game. There's just the store to buy new relics and items as you work your way down through the caves. Now, the Gauntlet point is actually that you're digging deeper and deeper and deeper, and back in the day whenever you're playing it, it had almost like an infinite level of numbers. Number of levels. I don't even know if I'm making sense anymore, because there was actually an old glitch back in the DOS version that whenever you made it down to level 118, the game just crashed as there was no more levels to go to. Many reviewers at the time of the release of Gauntlet Slayer Edition and the PC version that came the year beforehand did comment on the fact that the combat was very simple, but yet satisfying in a way, and the multiplayer was actually something to be, well, marvelled at, as it was a bit of a throwback to an older style that actually allowed a very diverse style of gameplay whenever you had teams that were made up of multiple different classes. Now, as you can see, I'm playing as the elf, which makes it a lot easier to take enemies out from a distance and backpedal away from them the entire time. But if you end up working as, say, the warrior class, you spend most of the fights buried into the enemies, just spinning like a dervish. Similarly with the Valkyrie character, and definitely not with the wizard. The wizard actually seemed to play a bit more like Arrowhead's other games, Magicka, which, well, to be honest, meant that you spent more time kind of thinking and planning out ahead to make sure that you could take down the larger groups of enemies. Now, the enemies in this are pretty dumb. They will just follow you around the screen and basically track around you. And the traps, well, as you can see, they're a little bit simple because they're pretty much just pressure traps, which of course change and get more detailed as you go along, but can be used to the advantage to draw the enemies through. repetition of combat was probably one of the weakest things about the game, and you will notice it as you move from world to world that the dungeons don't really change all that much. I mean, the enemies may have a different model from place to place, but they all seem to have very, very similar mechanics, and you really don't make much of a difference between them. All you're doing is actually just still backing away and swacking away at them with each one of your attacks. Though on occasion, basic puzzles are present in the game. For example, this simple one where you have to lift a crate, put it over next to a crack in the wall, and blow the fucking hell out of it.
Looks like we got company.
As a little bit of trivia for you, the actual enemy spawners in the PC version, and I'm saying the old PC version, the one on DOS, back in level 59, none of the spawners would spawn enemies. So, you pretty much found that you would be able to work your way through and be perfectly fine. All you had to do was blow them up. Although, I think also that level had a problem where you couldn't find an exit until all the walls became exits. Oh no, it's actually one of those things where I really need to stop doing this goddamn voice because it's really starting to annoy the hell out of me. Well guys, this has been Gauntlet Slayer Edition on the PS4. The game runs for $20 on the American store, I think £15 on the UK store. It's a classic. It's an old style game. It's something that you could probably enjoy playing with your friends. If you didn't pick it up on multiplayer, or not pick it up on multiplayer, pick it up on PS Plus, I don't know if I could personally actually recommend it to anybody else because of not the dreariness of it, but the grind of it. If you're looking for something that's kind of like a mindless separation from combat and gameplay, that's something that you can actually just sit down and just lose time playing, it reminds me a lot of the Temple of Osiris Lara Croft game with less puzzles. It reminds me of Smash TV. It reminds me of Reloaded. It reminds me of so many games that were basically just designed around destroy everything, gather the money, survive as long as you can. This could be really good fun online if you had 4 or 5 people playing, or 4 people playing it because it's a 4-player co-op on PS4. But to be honest, I don't think it's actually a game that would hold my attention for a really, really long time. It's simple, it's fun to play, it's not too difficult, and it's not mind-numbing because you're still reflexively playing quite fast the entire time. But nothing really kind of draws me to this. I mean, you can see the amount of levels there is as you just slide down, and I'm sure for a lot of other people this would be a godsend, something that they'd connect to their old past. Maybe if you're actually a new player and haven't got the experience it before, check it out. For everyone else, it's a bit of nostalgia. So guys, thank you very much for watching this week. This is the end of our first 15 minutes of Gauntlet. I hope to see you guys back on the channel in the future and check out all the rest of the videos. Bye-bye!